Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. As of today, we're going to be reviewing Ring of Honor. As you know, we have two pure wrestling rules matches. As you know, we're going to be moving into crowning the first ever ROH Women's Pure Wrestling Champion. So, however, two of the competitors that will be participating in the quarterfinals will be in, how do I say this, in preview matches. So we'll see how that will roll up. And then we move on with TNA. As you know, TNA has two fronts. The first one, of course, is the Showdown between, of course, themselves and NXT, and not to mention the upcoming pay-per-view, Bound for Glory. So we cannot wait to see what's going to happen since then. And then, as always, we'll cap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's begin. So, let's start with Ring of Honor. Alright, Ring of Honor. We opened up with a bit of a video promo from the combined forces of MXM Collection, Taya Valkyrie, and Johnny TV, known as now MXM TV. Now, as you know, in the last couple of weeks, they've been using that disgusting perfume they've been using in order to win their matches. But unfortunately, for what Mansoor explained, and I'm sure people will say, thank God, apparently TSA confiscated it. So basically, that kind of ruined them. But Mason decided to, how do I say, look on the bright side. We still look good, which of course is a positive side on their side. But the positive side for them to win matches, that's another story. However, they jump in, of course, with both Mason and Mansoor teaming up with Taya Valkyrie to team up against members of Skyflight. We're talking about, of course, Dante and Darius Martin, known as Top Flight. They team up with Layla Gray, which is an interesting team. As you know, Skyflight has been making waves recently, not yet picking up their biggest wins just yet. But you probably ask yourselves how this was going to roll. But in the end, it was Dante Martin that was able to pick up the win on Mansoor. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now we have the workhorsemen, of course, JD Drake and Anthony Henry taking on two guys, Chance Prophet and Rosario Grillo. Now, of course, it's no secret when you hear this match, you would say, okay, the Workhorsemen most likely have this one on bag, and they did. It was JD Drake that picked up the win on Prophet, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, during the post match, they were all of a sudden LFI, consisting of course, Dralistico, Roosh, and Sammy Guevara showed up. So most likely, I don't know if the indication is that the Workhorsemen might be aiming for the ROH World Tag Team belts. That's something that we don't know. I mean, we know they probably would challenge for those belts, but that seems like the case. Now, our next match is a Pure Wrestling Rules match. Yuka Sakazaki versus Zoe Lynn. Now, however, as you all know, she's in the tournament to determine who's going to be the first ever ROH Women's Pure Wrestling Champion. And she faces against Zoe Lynn. However, of course, this match ended with Yuka Sakazaki applying the Hammerlock merry-go-round. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, she's in it. However, of course, we will see her opponent later on. Now, we did see a bit of a video vignette coming from Frat House doing their usual thing, getting drunk and all that, but apparently some of their people got their asses handed to them by none other than Glacier. People like to call him the wannabe Sub-Zero. And Cole Carter got put through a table full of punch, and just like that, it was over. Now, speaking of the Frat House, we did have Griff Garrison, Preston Vance, and Cole Carter taking on 3 other guys. Casey King, Corey Sparks, and Nick Hanvik, I think that's the name. Sorry, my writing is a little messed up. But I kind of figured this match was going to fall in favor with the Frat House because it was Cole Carter that picked up the win on one of the guys. I don't know who's who because I didn't see clearly who it was. It was a 450 splash that ended. Now, as you all saw, I mentioned, LFI appeared out of nowhere after the post-match when the Workhorsemen picked up the win. I don't know what's the deal, but it seems like they, the way they accuse them, you guys think you celebrate because you won, you get a shot at the ROH World Tag Team belts. I mean, yes, they feel like, they are happy that they won the match, but they never indicated that that's what the case is for an ROH World Tag Team belt opportunity. But it seems like it's being pushed in that direction, but we'll see where that goes from there. Our next match, we have Aaron Solo taking on, of course, ROH legend Jay Lethal. Of course, there was some moments where Aaron Solo knows exactly how Jay Lethal operates. He was about to do the lethal injection. It took many times for Lethal to get it right, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Our next match, we had the premier athletes, of course, Stony Denali, the 6-foot tall girl who's been joining, along with Arya Davari and Tony Nese, taking on Kumpoke Paul, Gen Z, and Reese Romero. However, you probably can tell this match ended with the premier athletes when Denali chokeslam, of course, Ramon, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next Pure Wrestling Rules match is a warm-up. We have Serena Deeb versus Katie Arquette. Now, of course, this match was going to fall in favor with Serena Deeb because, as you know, she's involved in the tournament, and she picked up the win when she applied the octopus. But, however, Yuka Sakazaki got in her face because, for those who don't know, these two ladies are involved in the quarterfinals of the ROH Women's Pure Wrestling Rules Tournament title match. So basically, that's what is happening. So who's going to walk out of them? Well, I don't know. Our next match we have, of course, is Billy Starks teaming up with Diamante, taking on Suri, our current IWGP Women's Champion, teaming up with Alex Windsor. Now, for those who may not know, during the last pay-per-view from Stardom, Suri mentioned she was coming over here to the States, and it was still unclear what was going on. So we'll explain a little bit. But the match itself was pretty good. Alex Windsor and Suri were able to get the job done until, of course, Suri applied a sharpshooter onto Diamante. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match, we have Beef versus Dalistico. Of course, Beef was going to throw in a lot of course, combinations. A lot of, powerhouse, but unfortunately that didn't do any well until Dalistico applied a code breaker. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. However, of course, LFI decided to give Beef a beatdown until the Workhorsemen showed up. For those who don't know, Anthony Henry is Beef's cousin, so that's why he showed up to help him. So as you could probably know, looks like there's going to be a war between the Workhorsemen and LFI. Now, Alex Windsor put out a video and calling out, of course, Suri. Apparently, Suri, as you know, has been well aware about Alex Windsor because recently, before Shuri lost her belt, she asked, "Who is that girl anyway?" So it seems now Alex Windsor is like aiming for that belt now. However, there are those who talk about this on social media that maybe it's Suri's way in hopes to surpass Shuri. As you know, Shuri is aiming to reclaim this belt. So we'll see where that goes from there. Our main event, we have Johnny TV versus AR Fox. And of course, as you all saw earlier, Mason Madden, Mansoor, and Tavakkar were unsuccessful in their trios match. But however, now Johnny TV has to focus on AR Fox. Now, you probably would have assumed by watching this, you would think Johnny TV had the advantage because A, he has the members of MXM TV by his side. But that didn't do any well because AR Fox was able to win a big match by applying a schoolboy. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, AR Fox won the match. So that's how things end in ROH. So we'll see what happens next week. But as of right now, let's move on with TNA. Well, the showdown between TNA and NXT has begun. Now, earlier in the day, Santino Marella had a talk with Mike Santana, and apparently things are becoming a little complicated for Mike Santana. As you all know, he'll be facing Trick Williams. So it turns out that Mike Santana cannot put his hands on Trick Williams no matter what. But Santino Marella told him that if he does, then the match is canceled. But he asked him this question: what happens if he puts his hands on me? Santino told him, I wouldn't have a problem if you retaliated. So basically, he cannot touch Trick, but Trick can. If Trick touches him, well, that's a retaliation. So, and then of course the show opened up with Frankie Kazarian's King speech, talking to Kalani Jordan. As you all know, she is the current TNA Knockouts World Champion. And then Trick Williams shows up out of the blue, trying to steal the spotlight. And then here comes Matt Hardy. Then, of course, Leon Slater and Indy Hartwell. However, Santino Marella showed up in order to turn this into a 6-person tag match. Of course, Indy Hartwell, Leon Slater, and Matt Hardy will team up to face Kalani Jordan and Trick Williams and Frankie Kazarian. But however, before the match even started, Mike Santana made his way through the commentary table in order to watch this up close. However, he is aware that if he puts his hands on Trick Williams, well, he will lose the opportunity. However, you would have thought in some capacity that Santana was going to lose his cool. Nope. Apparently, Frank Kazarian accidentally shoved Trick Williams towards Mike Santana, and just like that, well, it's fair game. But this led, of course, for for Leon Slater to apply, of course, a Swanton Bomb onto, of course, Frankie Kazarian, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, picked up the win. Now, as you probably heard now, Li Ying and of course Zaya Brookside have formed a tag team calling themselves the Angel Warriors, and they made their first official debut officially as a team, taking on Kat Von Hees and Ava Lawless. And I have to say, there was some great moments. But I think the one thing we're seeing that maybe the possibility they could actually show what they can do. They were able to pick up the win when they applied a brand new move called Heaven Sent, and I believe that was on Lawless. And just like that, pinned by Li Ying Li. 1, 2, 3, over. Now, Joe Hendry, as you know, he took care of matter of his hands with Eric Young with what he was doing. However, Santino Marella had the unfortunate news to tell him that there's going to be a rematch with Eric Young, but apparently it's going to be a no disqualification match. And he said, but Santino also informed them that this was coming from the higher ups, people above Santino. And of course, we all know why, because Eric Young recently called Santino a puppet, because he wants to cleanse and TNA from what it's becoming. Now, we did see a bit of a road to glory, which leads to Mike Santana, as you probably know, for his upcoming match against Trick Williams at Bound for Glory. However, he was getting a bit of a lecture from someone many of you know if you're big time TNA fans, from the Amazing Red. Yeah, if you guys don't know who Amazing Red is, he is the East Coast version of Rey Mysterio without the mask. And as you all know, he does the 619, but he calls it the 718, which is the area code to Brooklyn. However, the story about what he was doing in there is that Amazing Red is like saying, look, you and I, along with my cousins, Spanish announce team, and a few others, we opened the doors for guys like you. If he was referring to, for those who don't know, Amazing Red and members of his family and people that they know in TNA are Puerto Ricans. So basically they're saying, we opened the door for guys like you. But we were there in Slammiversary, you disappointed us for losing. You wasted our time. So he's trying to give him that tough love type of thing. And I think that may have helped. But we'll see what happens. Now, we have Nick Mennett taking on the Hometown Man. As you know, the Mennett brothers had a deal with the Hometown Man on various occasions. But however, this case, because Ryan gets involved sometimes, Nick Mennett was able to apply the Danger Zone. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. However, of course, they decided to give a beatdown to Hometown Man until Matt Cardona showed up. But things didn't go according to plan for both Hometown Man and Matt Cardona. Now, Gia Miller, as you all know, has her fair issues towards Tessa Blanchard after what things happened. Gia Miller revealed that she was the one who uplifted her suspension. And of course, she wants to wrestle her in Bound for Glory. So that's pretty much it. But we did hear from Tessa saying that the same person who instructed her is the same person that she wanted to learn from. But of course, what's her name? Tessa is going to was telling her that things may not go exactly like you would hope for, but we'll see where that goes there. Now, our next match is Tasha Steelz versus Alicia. As you know, the war between the Order 4 and the System has been rising. And not to mention, they got their big match at Bound for Glory, Hardcore War. Now the ladies are taking matters in their own hands. And of course, there was going to be distractions and interference. But of course, Tweedledee, of course, I'm referring to John Schuyler, decided to toss a kendo stick, but apparently Alicia Edwards used that. That gave, of course, Alicia to apply a facebuster, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our main event, this match was originally supposed to take place at Victory Road, but due to the circumstances involving Ash by Elegance, it was pushed back to this day. It's for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles. The Inspiration as the challengers, and the Elegant brands as the champions. Now, of course, you know the little Chihuahua is going to be there no matter what to make sure these belts were going to take place. But the one thing that was messed up is when, of course, oops, Heather accidentally tossed Champagne into M, and that causes for a bit of the numbers game when they apply the Idolizer and Inspiration. 1, 2, 3, regain the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team belts, making them, I think, 2 or 3 times, I'm not sure. But yes, a great moment for them. So we'll see what happens next week, and not to mention, we will pay attention what's going to happen in Showdown. So until then, stay tuned for more. Let's jump into our last and final thing, news update. welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events. As you know, GCW has the Fight Club event in Atlantic City. They announced a match for night 2, which is on October 2nd. The GCW World Tag Team belts will be on the line. Alec Price and Jordan Oliver will defend them against the Brothers of Funstruction. That's going to be one crazy match. House of Glory makes their return back to Chicago on November 21st. Cedric Alexander will be, of course, participating. And then finally, we have JCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling, for home for the holiday on the 23rd of November. 2 names have been mentioned. Queen Aminata will be making her debut. Maki Ito makes her return. So that's pretty much it on the upcoming events. Let's talk about some developments. We want to give some condolences to Lexis King, who many of you know him as Brian Pillman Jr. Sad news that his adopted brother, Jesse Morgan, who was adopted by by the late Brian Pillman, passed away. So it's sad. My condolences go to of course to Lexis King / Brian Pillman Jr. Sad news also, there's been talk from Busted Open Radio regarding about Ash by Elegance, that the chances that there is the possibility that Ash's by Elegance in-ring career is officially over, which was very interesting because we don't know exactly. We don't know what the full sting it is. I mean, that's all we've been hearing, but yeah, so we'll stay tuned for that. Now, some people may question recently, as you saw this past Wednesday, Andrade made his return to AEW. Some people question, wait a minute, was he supposed to have a 90-day no-compete clause? Now, this is something we often talk about. Like, let's pause here a little bit. Wrestlers who leave the WWE, that were released by WWE, they get a 90-day no-compete clause. And wrestlers from NXT only get 30 days. However, there was certain circumstances that kind of changed that. Guys like Jon Moxley, for those who know, at the time he was known as The Ambrose, he did not have a no-compete clause. So basically he could have wrestled anywhere of his choosing. That kind of plays out as well. And of course, if you guys remember Aleister Black, or when he was known as Malachi Black in AEW, he had a 30-day non-compete clause, despite the fact that he was in the main roster. However, the WWE office screwed that up. But the real question is, why did Andrade did not have that? Well, it turns out because he violated wellness, they decided not to give it to him. So basically, he was free to work whoever he wants, and no time he ended back in AEW again. Now, New Japan has revealed that, of course, many of the U.S. shows have been declining. Things are not looking well, so it seems that the attendance have gone low. So that's pretty much what we've been hearing. Now, many of you may have heard this already. Hangman Page is said this on his social media, to F ICE. Now, if you all know what's been going on in our country, many people are upset with things have been going on with the federal agency known as ICE, or better known as Immigration something enforcement. Immigration Custom Enforcement has been causing a lot of problems, especially the Hispanic community. However, I don't want to talk about that part. One part has been mentioned. I think some of you saw this. There's been some commercials of recruitment revolving about ICE. I personally see that not only on AEW's commercials, but also on NXT, if you guys didn't catch that. So apparently Hangman is not happy with these commercials being on Dynamite. Now, some of you may question, why is he upset about that? Well, if you guys know this, he grew up in a tobacco farm, and he had immigrants that come to, of course, his family tobacco farm, and that's why he said it. So he's telling the fans that talk to HBO and Max to, of course, do not put these commercials ever again. So that's what it tells it up. Now, many of you may or may not know this. The actor known as Freddy Prinze Jr., many of you may know him from the movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer, what other ones? Scooby-Doo. Many may know this or not. He was a writer for WWE during the story. He did some work, of course, with them. He gave a bit of a very interesting behind the scenes about wrestlers who they were assigned. And this is what he said. So you guys tell me what you think. This is what he said. When I worked back in WWE in the day when they were like, well, you speak Spanish, so you're working with Ray. That's kind of how writers got assigned to people. It was like if you were black, you you write for a black wrestler. If you're Spanish, that they didn't know how I was Puerto Rican. They were like, you're Mexican, go to work with Ray. Yeah, I guess. I mean, people sometimes are really that dumb when it comes to Hispanics. I mean, personally, for me, guys, I'm not fully Mexican. I'm half Mexican. My father is Costa Rican, my mother's Mexican. But here's the thing: no matter what I do, no matter what I say, here in this part of the country, especially in California, I'm Mexican, and I feel bad for Freddy Prinze Jr. that he was been lumped in that category. So that's probably the main one behind the scenes how things go on. But like I said, I feel bad that they lumping him in that area. Now, moving on, Mina Shirakawa. Many of you guys know that she's been making some great headways in, of course, AEW. But he did mention her decision to depart with Stardom and joining AEW this year. And this is what she said this on Sports Graphic Number. If AEW turned me down, I thought I have no choice but to go freelance, and what exactly they find appealing about me. Many wrestlers and fans told me I live live show charisma. So yeah. So basically she would have gone freelance if they didn't hire her, but luckily they did. Gail Kim, as you know, she's been making the news. Recently, she had said some things about Rio. Some people found it very disrespectful. Of course, Kenny Omega was on the fence. What's his name? Jim Cornette was on her defense, on Gail Kim's defense, because he also said some remarks about Rio. But Rio kind of put in on how to address the comments regarding Rio, and this is what she had to say. I was not in any way saying anything bad about her. I was talking about my discomfort in the segment that I had watched, probably when AEW started, because I don't watch AEW currently. I saw that one segment and I remember just feeling uncomfortable. Yes, she's appealing to look very young, and then the dress. That particular match, like a little girl in my mind. Then when the cameraman, I think she was going up to the top rope, I remembered the camera shooting up her skirt, which, you know, happened a lot in my early wrestling days, where I had to go tell the cameraman or the production truck, hey, stop shooting up my ass. Yeah, I see your point. But when I said she wasn't believable in that match, it was just because I felt uncomfortable from the start. If you get my drift, in terms, at this age of the child, you know, Jeffrey Espin era, I felt like really uncomfortable. So that's what I meant by it. I actually had AEW, former people who worked there, say to me, I agree with you. I would be backstage and I felt the same way. I can't judge the type of wrestler I think she is today. I immediately said that I haven't watched their product in real long time, so I'm happy to watch the product again and give my opinion on that. So I would just hope that people have an open mind. Yeah. Okay, I get your point, Gail Kim, but you should have led with that. If you had a problem with the camera guy, how he was pointing the camera at Rio because she looks young, yes. I mean, I think she's in her 20s at the moment for Rio. And I get that if things brought things in your past. I mean, let's be honest, guys. When that whole bras and panties things in Gail Kim's run, I always believed she never felt comfortable with that. But I understand what she was getting, but she could have just made this a little bit more clarified. That way we would not have judged her too much. But like the old saying goes, the damage done. I'm glad that she put the record straight, but she should have known better about that. Now I want to put on some excellent news for everybody. Many of you know Bret the Hitman Hart, a legend in the wrestling business. Well, he just announced that his daughter has beaten breast cancer. So way to go, girl. I'm really happy for him to hear that his daughter is cancer free. This is what he had to say. Let me pull it up for all of you. I am immensely proud and joyed that my daughter, Jade, has triumphantly battled cancer with courage and strength that will always define her. As a cancer survivor myself, I can believe to express how grateful I am that my beautiful daughter, Jade, has won her fight. So she proved that faith and love can beat anything when one's heart is full. I'm so proud beyond words. I wanted to share this video to make for Breast Cancer Awareness Month as a reminder to everyone that early detection is the best production. Please remember to self-exam and schedule a mammogram. Yeah, so I have to say, Bret Hart, I'm really happy for him. Yes, of course, he's a cancer survivor. We need to do things like that regarding our health. Now, Jordynne Grace, as you know, apparently, as you probably remember, she's being left out of the Showdown taking place. And she had this to say. Let me put it up. Here it is. Santino, Ava, there's a huge problem with Showdown next week. I'm not in it. I'm trying to bite my tongue, but I just can't anymore. There's no NXTA without Jordynne Grace. There's no partnership. There is no cross-promotional champions. As a matter of fact, there is no Showdown without me setting the stage for 2 years. And you guys let your team captains pick their teams, and they chose wrong. And Santino, letting Kelani Jordan be your TNA Women's Champion after one TNA show, I'm going to refer to my neurologist because I'm extremely concerned about you. I'm going to say this and respectfully as I possibly can. You two need to fix this. So basically, yes, I think that's the thing she's facing, knowing that Kelani Jordan, who is NXT, is the team captain for TNA, for the women's side. Jordynne Grace, of course, was part of TNA, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions regarding, so we'll pay attention to that. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is, and if there's any news about her, about this situation, you guys will be the first to know. But as of right now, let's call it a day. Alright, so hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Coming up, I haven't decided yet because normally I don't review SmackDown that often, but like I said, I want to continue to catch up with many of the Yoshi Wrestling events. There was a Stardom event that I haven't seen that was this past Monday, I believe, that happened. I probably will review that as a top priority, but we'll just wait and see. But as of right now, we'll stay into that and move on. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.